Helo, agus fàilte go trí seascad den program Ep23 Alba le Bruidhnidh and tè-spòrs Ep23. Is Iona Ballantyne agus ha micho toliche go bhfuil Claire Nelson àrd-oifigear na Strathclyde Sirens agus Ball-Lìn Alba ar room stiùidio. Program na heiche noch, Bruidhnidh mi hínas Claire mún Superleague Ball-Lìn hoisich an t-seachdain-sa. Rionnag na Strathclyde Sirens, Claire Maxwell, the Bruidhnidh 3 seascad a séigi tíoch go Ball-Lìn. Agus ha Ball-Lìn Alba noch spórs och na bliadhna, Katie Johnson, a géisi mún duais agus dreuchd mar lúchleisiige. Claire, welcome back to 360.
Love it. Glad to be back.
It's so good to have you back because I love hearing every time that you're here what you have been up to since the last time you were here, because actually we did have the start of the season, which I know you must be delighted about.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal that we had a Super League opening weekend down in Birmingham. We played 2 games back to back and brought home the win that we wanted from that. So a really good start to our season campaign. But most excitingly is we're back at the Emirates Arena on Friday, and it is almost 2 years. I think we're a year and 11 months since we last played in front of a sellout crowd. We had an amazing win. We had Judy Murray was sitting next to us in the crowd cheering us on, and we thought we've made it. And then COVID hit and we shut down. And although we had a season last year behind closed doors, you know, our fans, our Sirens tribe, haven't seen our team play on home soil in 2 years. So we are so excited for Friday.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because the last time I saw you was at the Emirates Arena when the Scottish Thistles were playing, and it was such a spectacle that you put on, that Netball Scotland put on, and it was great to see so many young girls and women coming to watch. And like you say, Judy Murray, you had Gregor Townsend there too. You had people coming to see netball. What is the plan this season, and actually what will you be putting on for people coming to watch?
Yeah, well, we really believe passionately, and I do, around the idea of sportainment. You know, we're an indoor arena event. We're 60 minutes of netball. It's fast-paced, it's exciting. So if you're a sports fan, a netball fan, ticks all the boxes. But actually what we want to do is build new audiences, new fans, and we do that through the entire experience. So there's music, there's things to do beforehand. I think we've got a book club starting this year. You know, we've got come and try. You can get your face painting. There's loads of live music. There's food. There's drink. So we want this to be actually something that people choose to do. And after the last 2 years, people are looking. They're seeking out for new fun things to do. We're more than just a netball match. We're a really fun experience. We want to build on that because we have big plans in the future for building our live sports events here in Scotland.
And you know as well, even from that, when you've had 2 games this season, 1 defeat and that victory, which I know you were just so delighted about, because you did come from behind for that win. So people know that it is such an exciting, fast-paced game to come and watch. I mean, even for this season, what are the plans? What's the kind of aim? What is the goal for?
Well, the goal for us is to hit top 4, you know, and last year we surprised ourselves in the season. Not me. I've known that this team could do better and just had it in there, but there was something that just clicked those few games in when we started winning. We started really challenging the top teams. People started taking note of us, and we thought, you know, actually we're a team to contend with. And we were the stars of last season. We might not have won it, but we were the most talked about team, and we just had this huge turnaround. What that's done though is it means we started this season with expectations on ourselves, and the fans have expectations, and sometimes that's tougher. It's great to sit at the weekend and listen to all the commentators and Sky Sports pull out Niamh McCall as one to watch and to be excited and to hype our team up. It means though there's a lot of pressure on them, but that's what our fans want, and that's what we've wanted as a Scottish franchise in this league. There's 11 teams. We've wanted to be serious contenders and to have a shot at that top title, and you know, we're going for it this year. But if anyone watched day 2 and saw the likes of Pulse beat Bath, and there were so many games that were unexpected, I think we know that whatever those final 4 standings, whoever eventually lifts the trophy, it's going to be fierce competition, and that's what makes it exciting.
Well, is there a different feeling among the squad even this season that they're even more hungry now to go and do that?
Oh, 100%. This squad, like when you follow any of their socials, you just smile because you just know that they love each other, and there's a real like camaraderie and genuine friendship, and that's what's really brought us new fans to the table. But there's just something now in that's that kind of, no, we can go and do this, and there's that self-belief, and they need that. You know, we can believe in them, we can support them, but they're the ones who have to go and do the job on court. But you'll see a lot of our campaign material and a lot of our digital work that we're going to put out this year. We're talking about collective power. We believe that each athlete has their own superpower, but together that collective power is where their strength is. We talk about them getting their wings as sirens this year because we want to reach new heights. So everything we're putting out, all of our messaging, internally, externally, is about our belief in ourselves, and I guess it's up to us where we take that.
Which even then, in turn, that's so important for all the young netball players in Scotland, around the world, who see Sirens and see them as a team to look up to and something to achieve. Yeah, it's aspirational, and I think that's really important, and we've seen that this year. You know, even with the likes of Emma Raducanu coming in, you know, young female athletes are telling different stories, and young people, boys and girls, are looking up at sports stars, female sports stars, and going, okay, that looks cool, I want to be part of that. If you look at a lot of the comments on our TikTok, there's so many girls going, oh my God, that looks so cool, I want to be a siren. And that for me has been one of the biggest kind of drivers in my role. It's my mission in changing that mindset of what young people aspire to be, because actually for a long time, and still, the role models across media for girls in particular are unhealthy in terms of what you're aspiring to be and to look like and what you think success is. And it's unhealthy because when you don't reach those unrealistic ideals, you feel bad about yourself. So there's something beautiful about sport and seeing all these different body shapes, different backgrounds, but everyone coming together, having fun off the court, working hard on the court, that really, you know, whether kids want to be a sports star or not, it makes them feel good about themselves. And that we need more of, particularly now. Well, Claire, that leads us perfectly on to our next feature, which I know you're going to be so happy to watch. Or heel Claire Maxwell ar-aisc na Strathclyde Sirens is sé bliadhna falbh anúr a bheith aice. Inis ha ciad cabhacáda tíoga agus an scipa aice cuideachd go múlach is Superleague.
As sé bhí blian na dhéobh ó Ball-Lìn farpaseach, ha Claire Maxwell a coint ad and be a clocht on the Strathclyde Sirens and t-seachdain-sa.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think last year was their best ever season, so to be back on court with the girls after missing last year due to pregnancy, I'm really excited to get going, and I think we've got an exciting group to build on all the success they had. Yeah, last year I was assistant coach before actually going on maternity leave, so it was great to get hands-on experience of just how well the girls were doing and be part of that exciting journey they were on. Definitely every season, no matter how successful or kind of unsuccessful to an extent that we've had in the past, we always debrief fully to make sure we take all our learnings into next season, so every single time we hit the court we're always aiming to improve, just in the same way we do after every game. So it's been a really valuable experience taking all the learnings from last year, and we've really tried to put a lot of things back in place, but also not to settle on what we did last year. You know, we're an ambitious group and we want to do even better this year.
Ha Claire dèidh a bhí imas cúis na dhéist, agus ag deabham sonna scipa le inmhe na Sirens siar fás.
Yeah, we're a relatively new brand, and although for some players who've been in it from the beginning, it feels like we've been here for a while, but we are still growing, and it's fantastic to see the growth that happened last year. We had more people watch our games than ever before, and the fact that each and every game was streamed allowed our own fans to follow our journey, and I think that was really, really special because they could see our performances week in, week out, and follow people on social media and get to know us on and off court a lot better.
Chud Claire a hennim the pepper dun na Sirens in nuddy. There's groi fadaching na groi bulach jisha lewa. Agus vai son teichhors gan skipper, gus as a yano.
Yeah, I think obviously the last season that I was here as a player, it got cut short because of COVID, and I just felt I didn't have those final years in that Sirens dress, and I want to be part of the journey. I want to be part of the buzz that's been happening around Sirens, and I'm really excited to take part As a mum as well, I think it just adds a totally different element to who you are as a person, but who you are as a player as well. And I want to go out and be a positive role model and show other people that you can be a mum and compete at the elite level at sport. It's more than just a sport, you know, we're human beings, and we play the sport we love and we compete at a high level, but we also have a life off of court. And I often find it's the happier you are away from court, the better the athlete you are. So I think it's a really important part. And you know, to raise a baby, they always say it takes a village, but to raise a baby and play sport, it really does take a lot of support from other people, not only just my coaches, but my family and friends who allow me to go and train every single day so I can be at the correct level for this game.
Ha Claire y crutchin gyda jew awm a hasiod yn y Sirens, ys i at y pwchtigers o'n archer sy briafcher yr egleig. Agus ai smyngin gyfel y cwtram o'ch greim o'ch chwmal iddyn y clochydryn as larcher a achga.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be back with the team. You know, I miss the girls, I miss the vibes that you give you in training, and just, you know, they make you work hard because you want to play really well for them, not just yourself. So I think I'm just really excited to take to court and build on previous relationships I've got, but also new ones with the new players that have come into our squad, and do something very exciting and unique this year. It was really exciting to see a lot of people re-sign. As I said previously, like, we had a lot of people who hadn't taken court before, and you really stepped into the limelight, and you know, they didn't just step in at any kind of level, they actually just raised their level of the game to a whole new level, like completely. Like, I was blown away by some of the performances. They really matured for such young players. Like, a lot of the girls are still young in their careers, and they performed exceptionally well. So it's really exciting to now take part with these guys on court.
Leis na Sirens y gianw ma, be mi gyda jew rwt a hasiant yn y Scottish Thistles. Gwharas leis na gemich yn y chwolai'r sydd father.
Oh, absolutely. I think Sirens is a great platform for the Scottish Thistles. You look at our shooting end, who took part in Sirens last year. You've got Beth and Emma and Niamh, who are all very early 20s, and Emma Barry's still a teenager, and they're performing against athletes who've maybe performed on that stage for 10 years. And all their learnings are taken from Sirens, and playing in that high-pressured environment week in, week out is going to help us on the international stage. And when you hit a competition like the Commonwealth Games, you're playing back-to-back games, and it's only going to make them stronger. So it was really promising to see our youngsters step up and perform so well. It's a massive year. To have the Commonwealth Games in the UK as well, it just brings an extra bit of buzz about it. The last Commonwealth Games that was here was in Glasgow, and it was just an unreal experience. You know, we always say the group that were there, it was our best days of our lives competing in front of a home crowd. So we're very excited to have the Commonwealth Games in the UK, and I think, you know, selections are tight, which is the way we want it to be. There's so much depth now in Scotland, and the 12 players who get to go are, you know, they're really honoured to take part and represent our country to the highest level.
Hai dreuchd yn y Sirens a fi tog a lorau ddys na ring at yn yddi. Agus a Claire y faddachyn gyfel y comas y gaib yna iddo yr iing.
Absolutely, I think we have to be ambitious. Last year was our best season, best season so far, and we don't want to just settle for that position. We want to push on. We had some tight games last year that drew, and if we just went over the line and won those games, then we potentially would have finished top 4 last year. So every game counts, so we just take it game by game, but every game we enter, we look to win. We have that winning mentality now in that group, and I think that's really important moving forward. Elite sport, everyone's worthy of being there. Everyone's competing at an amazing level, they're amazing athletes. It's the small things that count, but it's the small things over 60 minutes that makes the biggest difference. So if we can be consistent with our performance, maintain the structures we've got and build upon them, then we're going to do really well. We want to make headlines, we want to get new fans on board, we want to promote netball in this country and get more people following it. And then the performance-wise, we do want to try and get in that top 4.
Claire, what a woman. You must just be so proud and delighted to have somebody like her as part of your team.
Yeah, you know something, we talk about role models a lot in women's sport, and I think everybody who plays in our Sirens team is a role model in their own way. But for Claire to be a mother, and to come back so quickly into a training environment. She took to international duty very quickly. I think Lucy was 4 months old when she played her first competitive training matches against Wales and Northern Ireland, and here she is now ready for another Siren season, going into a Commonwealth Games year, because of course she's a Siren and a national athlete Thistle. And she doesn't say it's easy either, you know, but she talks about it in a real way and shows that it can be done. And we have that in our coaches as well. You know, we have babies and toddlers courtside. We talk about the juggle. I run around the office and play with kids sometimes when people need an hour to go and do their thing. But what this shows is that if you allow women to parent the way they want to, you are flexible and you work with them, then they can nail whatever they want to do professionally as an athlete or in a boardroom. And I'm so proud of what Claire's done. And I really hope that that paves the way for other women who may want to be mothers and still compete at the highest level to make those choices in the future.
It shows you how much she loves it too, because I don't know what being pregnant and having a baby and going through that feels like.
I do, and
but
I don't know how you go back to I
so
don't know
to
how
do
she does
that, like to have that dedication and love for
Unreal.
sports, for what you put your body through, and then to come back to it, just shows how much she loves it, and actually how much she probably loves the culture too, because she knows that that's a safe space to bring her and her baby into.
It's her discipline as an athlete, and you know, she was so active through her pregnancy. I mean, her fitness levels throughout her pregnancy were probably beyond what any of us could have you know, do on a normal fit day. But that's her mindset, and that's the choice you have to make. A lot of times people talk about sacrifices as athletes. People have talked to me about sacrifices in my work. I think it's choices, and some choices are more difficult than others. But if you want to do what you love and you want to be successful at this, then you've got to work at it. And Claire absolutely embodies that. She's also a teacher, and she's on mat leave from teaching at the moment. But how incredible for her going into a school, in a secondary school, and being not only an athlete and a parent and a teacher and showing what can be done. I think she's absolutely remarkable, and I'm so proud she's ours.
I'm so proud that she's yours too. It's so good to see, and it actually must be so good and important for the younger members of the squad to have somebody like Claire and to see what she's been through, and actually see her coming back, and they can look at her and think, okay, if I want to remain in the sport that I love, I can do that too.
This was really important to me. We are not at the point yet where we have the finances to be able to create a fully professional programme, and we absolutely have to get there, and we're building towards it. But what I've been working on for the last few years is to try and understand the needs and the ambitions and the passions of each athlete, particularly those at that elite level that we want performing for us nationally and in the Super League, and to understand how we can best support them. So whether that's I want to be able to focus full time on being an athlete, can we find other employment for them? So, for example, Abby is delivering Sirens for Success. Gia works and does administration for us. You've got those at university, and we work with our partners at the University of Strathclyde to work in and around their studies. To even, you know, I've done mentoring and trying to place some of our athletes in industry. It's making sure that they have choice and that choice is respected, and then that also brings in their personal choices, because for too long we were losing talented people far too early that thought, that's it, I need to get a proper job now, I can't commit to this, or I want to have babies, and it was either or. And what we're trying to figure out is, how do you do everything you want to do, and when the time is right for you to retire because you've done everything you want in the sport, then you can, but not because you're having to make a compromise or a sacrifice elsewhere.
And that's where you've got Claire coming back, because I know she did speak in that feature about maybe retiring before, but I know that's something that
she's got many more playing years in her yet, and I won't be allowing her to retire just yet. We've got unfinished business as a nation. But you know, me and Claire talked about this, and we talked when she got married, you know, a few years back. I talked to her openly about, you know, if you want to have children, then we will support you through that. And so that's how we created the player coach role for her last year, and when she was ready to, or she couldn't play any longer, we transitioned her into a coaching role that allowed her to still be part of the system, to develop her own skills as a coach and an athlete, to still be, you know, remunerated as part of the team. So it wasn't like that's you done, out and come back when you're ready. It was really working with her and listening to her, and I think that's what we have to do with female athletes until you can really offer a fully professional program with the right contracts and mat leave and so on. We've got to listen to their needs and be really flexible, really open-minded, and you can see that when you do that, you know, that they're back so quickly, and she, I believe, will be an even better athlete for this, because there's nothing like now, you know, knowing that you've got a child at home, you've got so much clearer perspective. She's here because she wants to be, and she'll do a really great job.
Claire, honestly, it's so amazing to hear, and it's something that I hope other businesses even watching this listen to you and know that they can then implement that change too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bruidhnidh agus han lú clásica og Katie Johnson bhí a coidearás an hísan harfacail éiche agus I Bruin mu bhí a fáin chuna gemachin Olympicach.
A stiùidio bhí a misc an spórs lúchleise fo seach, hu the bhon Alba Katie Johnson lorach an gúlaiche ána bhí a réisich.
When we were about 6, I think, me and my sister both went to an athletics holiday club at Meadowbank before it closed. So that was really nice. But yeah, it wasn't really a big thing in my family. Just me and my sister did a lot of stuff together, which was nice. Then we went to that holiday club, and then we started doing weekend classes with the athletics club. And then I think when I was 8, then I joined an official athletics club. But I think I did a bit of swimming, but apart from that, I've not really done that many other sports, apart from like swimming and athletics. I just really enjoyed it. I've never really got that nervous before. Like, I get excitement before races. Like, I never really got like anxious or anything that much. So I've just really enjoyed it, competing. Like, the training can be hard sometimes, but all the races, yeah, I just love racing. So it's been really nice.
Bhí Katie is scrúta a thula réis an cuideachd a hathad, a ha cuideachd na coache. Le taith fan deulach Chimichalara, I dún an misnachal, hoisach a thula réis.
Yeah, no, he is my coach. So he's not like an official coach, but he's just been coaching me all his life. He puts a lot of work into it, a lot of hard thought behind it all, which is really great. So yeah, it's just because he's obviously cares for me a lot compared, like, as opposed to if it was like an outside coach, because obviously he's my dad, so it's really good. Yeah, and so then he knows, so like some sessions it's a lot better because then he knows what works well for me. We can slightly adapt some training sessions just depending on how I'm feeling, so obviously it's a lot easier just having a good relationship between me and my coach, because obviously he's my dad. But yeah, it's worked really well for me. Sometimes I'll, like before races, I'll usually look up on like Power of 10, usually like a database to see other people's PBs, see what they're like. Quite a lot of them I've raced before, so it's good. And then yeah, I just always like always have a race plan before, so I'll see how other runners typically run their races and then try and like devise a plan to work around that. But yeah, I really like it. I get nervous going into races again, like certain athletes, but it's never like a fear. It's always, I always feel like, yeah, no matter what, even if they've got slightly faster times than me, I've always got slight feeling like I've always got a chance of winning, which is nice going into it, just feeling like that.
Sonna bhí na séar anna bhí a rui harasta, hoisí Kitty a rui tar gúich, agus a jefereching hadis na blínich in a galaf.
I definitely think cross country does help, just in, like, it doesn't really suit me that much, especially because I'm taller and just it's not as nice, but it really does help the track, like just to get that endurance. Like you can get it in other ways, but it is a lot more enjoyable because it's like this season you don't have any track races, so it's quite nice to still get that competitive environment, see lots of friends, and just the more social side of it. Even if I'm not like doing as well at cross country as I would do at the track, it's still just a really enjoyable way to get that fitness up. I definitely think in the last 1 or 2 years, yeah, definitely have improved a lot. I think the lockdown as well has been quite beneficial for me because I think I've always had a lot of like more natural speed, but it's the endurance that I have lacked quite a bit. But then over lockdown, I've just been able to really improve that endurance, get that a lot better, which has obviously then helped my 800 as well. And then my speeds also, yeah, I think just having the full days in lockdown to go out to the track. And because obviously my dad was coaching me, then it didn't really affect us at all, because I could do my training with my sister and then my dad coaching. So then, yeah, I think that's really helped us actually, as much as it wasn't the most enjoyable time.
Bhunna Katie t-seachdain-sa ook na bliadhna ag na dúis an SWiS, a siwihi a bhí a chiad lúch lisiche haid réist 8 meter a bhuinnig, ag iad of a seachdain Agus fichid Iona Ballantyne is sassing.
Well, it's just an incredible privilege to even be there. It was great, and then it was such a nice atmosphere with all the different sports, and because usually I'm just used to like athletics, but to see all the sports, all the incredible sports people, it was just, yeah, it was amazing, and experience that'll definitely stay with me forever. I went into the season, so it was the Scotland and England both age groups, so I'd went into the season like thinking about that was a target I could maybe get. But it was, yeah, I wasn't sure if I'd actually be able to manage it, because there's a lot of racing and a lot of different people and all the tactics in 800. So yeah, it was just really great to be able to manage that.
Ha Katie and Agus a thug a lora ag farpers na chearpa an bliadhna, le amas fatúine na Olympics a rionnag.
Well, so in 2022, there's the European Under-18 Championships, which is definitely a goal of mine to hopefully medal at that. Well, just to get in firstly, but then to medal would be great at that. And then just the future, to turn pro, to get Olympics obviously is a goal of mine, to medal Olympics one day, obviously a long time in the future, but yeah, that's definitely a goal of mine. It's also about the journey as well. So like, I feel like some athletes put everything on the Olympics in the final goal, but I mean, even up till now, I've just enjoyed my experience so much in all my running, and all the junior level stuff is so great as well. But yeah, obviously to get to the Olympics would be so amazing.
Claire, it's hard to believe that Katie's only 16, because she's already making such a mark in her sport, and you do hope and know that that is something she'll go on and really push in her career.
Do you know something? To have that talent at her age is incredible, but she's so composed. She's so calm, very measured, very mature, and you just think that's going to stand her in good stead for a career ahead of her, and to have achieved what she has at this age as well. I mean, world's her oyster. She must be really driven for the future and what she can achieve.
And how lovely to hear even just her coaching relationship with her dad. It's actually it was just really lovely and nice to hear about.
I'm sure there are loads of kids out there in sport that would be like, I could not have my mum or dad coach me at all. And having tried to teach, you know, one of my children to drive, I don't think I could coach them in sport. So, but I think that's probably why she's so measured and so grounded, because if she's got that beautiful family unit around her, real support, somebody who's in it, you know, coaching her for the absolute best interests and listening to her, then that's probably why she's got to where she is. Moving forward, you know, whether that's the right system for her, and you know, she'll need a whole team around her to make sure she can achieve her full potential, but whatever she's doing, it works. And you know, we met her at the Scottish Women in Sports Awards. What a lovely, lovely girl she is. And again, going back to the role models piece, like absolutely that's who you want young people looking up to.
Totally, and like you were just saying about the award, she won the Young Sportswoman of the Year, like you just said, at the Scottish Women in Sport Awards. How important is something like that for the recognition of a young athlete? Kind of, it must give you such a great boost going ahead.
Great for her confidence, you know, for her that will be, you know, these things, you take them in your stride. Often it's good to get that recognition, and it's a good little bit of validation about what you're doing. It's nice confidence moving forward. I think for her, it was really good for her profile in terms of, you know, other sports and other people seeing who she is. There's a lot of big names in athletics. There's a lot of successful Scottish women in athletics. You know, you look at Laura Muir. So for her being this emerging talent, it put her on everyone's radar. And I guess similar to what we were talking about with the Sirens, sometimes that puts a little bit of added pressure if she's maybe just been doing really well, flying under the radar a little bit, that's been comfortable. But, you know, I think she's the type of girl that can take that and will use it, because she really, you know, to win those titles for Scotland and England, she has got a bright future, and she should really be looking at things like this award as just the start of a really successful career.
Absolutely, because you are also a Scottish Women in Sport Award winner. Tell us about that, and actually even how it felt to win that award, because that was a project that you put so much passion into.
I was so proud of that. So we won for the media award, Headlines Not Sidelines, and you know, I talked about this on the evening. It was born through frustration, but a real kind of light bulb moment of, hold on, there's no sport happening. Our team is playing in the middle of a pandemic, is winning, and still we're not getting covered. And so it was one of those where we changed tact. It was a real campaign, not just banging on a drum, give us coverage, but listening to editors, looking at the content, being really persistent, building relations. And it was so successful. But as I said on the night, and I actually said it on a call this morning, Headlines Not Sidelines doesn't belong to Sirens or netball. We want to share that with all women's sport, because it absolutely means something. And I think my favourite moment of that night was when, you know, someone was being asked from, I can't remember what sport it was, I think it was from cricket, and they said it's about headlines, not sidelines. And I was like, yes, you know, it's something that resonates with everyone, with all women in sport, all minorities in sport. You know, we've got to drive change. So, you know, I was proud of winning that award, but that isn't the end of that campaign. For me, it goes on until we see the equity and coverage that we need.
It feels like kind of full circle, because I remember you came on to this show and told us about Headlines Not Sidelines.
Yes, yeah.
I think it was the week that
just
you
before
launched
International Women's Day. That's right.
So to actually see the impact that's had, to go on to win an award and to keep pushing it and get that media coverage for netball.
But it shows it works.
Yeah.
And this is what I keep saying, and I know I'm a bit of a broken record with it, but you know, we have to drive change. That's what Sirens was built for. It's about changing the game. We see in women's sport game changers changing the game. What does that mean unless we are actually doing something meaningful about it? So we have to push leadership, we have to push participation, investment, we have to push media coverage, and we also have to be smart about how we do that. You know, there's this real understanding that equality isn't about doing the same thing. So actually, just putting netball or women's sport on sports channels or back pages isn't necessarily reaching female audiences or young audiences. But what we have to do is make sure that the amount of coverage or the quality of that coverage is meaningful, is consistent, and is actually changing the game for the future. So we've just started. When I got a report about our coverage last year, I was so heartened, because it was like a 400% increase year on year, but actually the gap is still massive. And I read it and it was all the but they still won't do this, and this you know, broadsheet won't cover you. And I just thought, okay, might feel good and we've made some progress, but there's still a big mountain to climb here, but I'm ready for it.
But the thing is, you always come on the show and tell us your goal and what you've got planned, and you always succeed and see it through. That is the thing that I know from you. So you told us at the start of the show this week, not even this week, today on the show, that you're going for a top 4 finish in the league this season. I know from hearing you that's going to happen, but actually,
yeah,
there are some other really exciting things coming up. We've got the Commonwealth Games, and then you are hosting World Cup qualifiers. It'll be for Scotland, Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, Wales, Gibraltar and the Isle of Man, where 2 countries will then
only 2 qualify for
the
Europe.
World Cup.
So it's massive for us, and you know, funding, pathways, everything relies on getting to the World Cup. Com Games is an amazing event to be part of, and we cannot wait to be part of Team Scotland, particularly the fact that it's in Birmingham, so there'll be home crowds there. But in terms of netball, the World Cup is the pinnacle of the sporting calendar, and it'll be in Cape Town, South Africa, 23. You know, so for us, qualifying for that is critical. But where I'm at is actually, what do I need to do in Scotland? How can we be the #1 team sport for women and girls? We have some big ambitions. We're purpose driven. We want to create a better, fairer future for the women and girls of Scotland through our sport. But we really want to build the profile. So we've got a national squad. We've got a pro team. We are looking as a league at bringing investment and professionalisation. And so we've been really looking at going to that next level. So I've got a number of things in the pipeline that I'm working on. Some I can share, like we're going to launch a charitable foundation so we can drive greater impact at community level. And some are pretty meaty, which I can't share at the moment. But I think what COVID has done for me is given me the space to go, okay, we've got ambitions, but if you keep doing what you're doing, are you going to realize them? Or what do you need to do to be truly transformational? So we're stretching ourselves as an organisation, but now's the time to go and do it. And I fully believe in where we are at the moment, that the next couple of years we're going to take that giant leap, and I can't wait to come back on and announce some of the things we're working on.
I was going to say, I can't wait to have you back on and actually hear about all these things, because they're looking forward to everything that's happening. So it was so lovely to have you back, Claire.
Thank you for having me.
Wel, sin son y noch gyna chiachgyn fi Rebecca Seller Color Rooms yn studio. Jan cynjoch gyfel sy'n Ballantyne BBC Alba ar YouTube, son y chwla sy'n hwch iangol cheri 3 siasgyd ein. Chi sy'n sef yn ahwyrus.